Perry Nicholson talks a lot about just crawling, all the primal reflexes, crawling, rolling, rolling left, rolling right, just those natural movements that we've taken for granted. So that's kind of a little bit like a similar thing that what you're talking about.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I mean, that's, the flip side to this too is if for those of us out there that are willing to embark on this, the idea of, audio-visual consults with clients, I mean, we've got to be careful about our scope of practice and training, but things like crawling, as an example, seems so, like, it almost seems stupid on one level. Oh, what am I going to crawl for? What good's that? Go and do it for a bit. Crawl and take your knees up off the ground. So all you're allowed to do is like put your toes on the ground and support your upper body with your arms. You do that over 10 meters and then go backwards over 10 meters and tell me how you feel. You're going to, unless you train a lot, you're going to already be quite tired and exhausted.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bear crawls. Holy Moses.
Very simple, very, very safe. Within your scope of practice, we might want to practice this first, get good at it, develop ourselves, and then share that with people. I'm obsessed with touching other humans. That's why I do massage. I think we can all relate to that. The reality is for some of us, we're going to be a little bit restricted in that regard. So maybe we can take this time to develop some self-practices that we can then share with other people. Again, check scope of practice and all those concerns. But certainly for a lot of people now, they're certainly stretching, is within scope. I think for everybody, I might be wrong there, but I think for pretty much everybody, simple self-massage is within scope. And so low-impact stuff should be within scope for everybody. Those that have a bit more training, sure, you can expand on that. But so those crawling movements are just so simple, so fundamental, so powerful.
Yeah. I quite often give clients their homework might be just skipping, not like skipping rope skipping, but skipping down the hallway, because it's making every joint move, and it actually makes you laugh. I think it stimulates the vagal nerve in some way, because I don't know anyone who skips and after skipping for 10 meters, it hasn't got a smile on their face. So
it's a bit hard to stay grumpy when you're skipping down the hall, isn't it? Yeah.
So if people want to learn, because I know that you provided that course, you were at the conference down there, and I enjoyed that facilitation, even though I was dying of the flu after coming back from this UK, I think. I came back dying. Yeah. Are you running courses on ergonomics and therapists?
Yeah. So I suppose what the current flavour of the month at the moment. I mean, we've got our online stuff. That's always there. We haven't had much of an update on that for a while, to be honest. But face-to-face stuff these days is current flavour is around the sort of, I suppose it's a combination of, in classical senses, joint mobilization and positional release. Yep. That, is kind of then applying the whole basic fundamental message is to stop forcing things. And so, teach ergonomics on its own, it's really dry. People really enjoy it. I suppose that's what we're doing is a real focus on, I call it joint mobilization. That's a nice little capsule to put it in. But again, it's this sort of process of position, relax, get people to experience their body in the free movement in a passive state, so they get to lie on the table and enjoy it. But for the therapist, you're really learning, hey, let's pull way back on the amount of energy I'm putting into this person, but hopefully really maximizing their outcomes.
Bare feet, not bare feet when you're training. And we're not talking about infection control and occupational health and safety stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
From a training perspective, for example, I'm one of those people that have spent more time in dojos and yoga schools, and even with the kettlebells, which I kind of love, because just you buy a few kettlebells. All of those things are done with bare feet. Yeah. So running absolutely puts shoes on for me. I'm not a barefoot runner. I haven't quite sort of mastered that level of foot conditioning. But so for me, doing a lot of with clients, If I'm doing massage, shoes are on. As soon as we finish massage, manual therapy stuff, we're going to do some movement stuff. The shoes come off instantly. Like so I, sure, infection control appropriate to safety, yes. Obviously, shoes. If you're doing dry needling, shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of training and movement and lifestyle and self-care and all of that, look, just using bare feet, it develops muscles. It requires more balance. Train your feet. Like train your toes.
Yeah.
People ignore it. They train all the other stuff that looks good and ignore their feet. It's incredible how many ankle, knee problems can be resolved from some very simple foot exercises. So
yeah, and the reason I asked it was because a lot of therapists, if they're practicing, if you're practicing without shoes, then maybe you're treating without shoes. If you're practicing, if you're going to treat with footwear, which is what we that's part of our statement,
generally do.
Then you should be practicing at the same, because we're changing what our feet are doing. And I think the perception of the neural sensitivity of the feet and the neural sensitivity of the hands, I think that there's correlation through our circuits. So